Piss and vinegar day 11. So chest and triceps, probably my least favorite day because lost a lot of strength on the old chest, and I have a bad mind muscle connection on it. But still got to do it. Still experimenting with different movements to try and hit my chest and not my front delts. And I start off with the big three, the lock big three or something it's called. I don't know. It's just to warm up my rotator cuffs and my rear delts, because I have a lot of shoulder instability and just general shoulder fuckery on my horizontal presses. My vertical presses I have no problem with, but bench presses and stuff like that, I have a lot of kind of weakness and instability in the shoulders, so I'm kind of working on that at the moment. Normally it's the other way around, but for me it's the bench press that really fucks me up. And then I'm doing a bit more banded pull aparts or banded external rotations, just kind of activating my rotator cuffs. And then I get into the bench press, of which I've basically cut my strength in half over this cut. I've lost 20 kilos. So I've lost 20 kilos, but I've lost like 70 kilos of bench press strength because, yeah, that's just how it is. Weight moves weight. So you lose weight, you lose strength, and as simple as that. Can't wait to start bulking again, get some of my bench strength back up. First, I need to get my shoulder healthy, though, in order to be able to optimize how much I can press. And I'm doing Larsen press today. Larsen press is when you use no leg drive, you straighten your legs. This way you keep your reps consistent. A lot of people, when they bench press, they'll have an inconsistency in their progression because one day they'll have better leg drive than others, and they'll think they're getting weaker or think they're getting stronger than they really are, when in reality they're just having inconsistent leg drive. So I take that out of the equation. And also, bench press is already a very shitty hypertrophy movement, for me at least. So I try to use as little momentum as I can in order to fully activate my chest on this movement, because I already barely feel it in my chest. This is more of just an ego thing. I do it because I want to be strong at the movement and efficient at the movement. Normally I do volume on these because there's a skill component here, and I only just started bench pressing again recently. But today I just couldn't be bothered. I'm so fucking carb depleted. I wasn't gonna get any strength gains from this workout anyway, so didn't bother. I just did my straight set to failure, and I do pause reps here to keep it again even more consistent. I don't like touch and go because there's a lot that can go wrong there. There's a lot of inconsistency. It's better to just have that pause rep, and that way I find when I pause rep I feel it more in my chest too. But yeah, legs fully straight here, no leg drive. And one of the things that's good about this is when you don't use leg drive, you can then use leg drive to go beyond failure. And you'll see what I mean in a minute. I've got my legs straight. I'm purely using my body strength, getting probably 10, 15 kilos less than I could with leg drive. And then on this last rep, I think, this is the last rep, I fail, put my legs up, use some hip, take my butt off the bench and get another set beyond failure, rather than having to do the roll of death down my pelvis. So that's a little tip. If you want to go beyond failure on the bench press without a spotter, you can always use Larsen press into the leg drive. Not foolproof though, so be careful. Don't put the clips on because you might fail and you might need to put the plates, pop them off the sides. And then I do a drop set with a wider grip, and yeah, these are just touch and go, burning at the pecs at this point. And for reference, yeah, as I said, I've genuinely halved my bench press. When I was 99 kilos, I was bench pressing 140 for 3. Now I'm bench pressing, well, that was 72 for like maybe 8 or 9. So maybe not quite halved, because obviously I could get with leg drive, I could probably bench press 95 kilos for 3 reps, 100 kilos for 3 reps, but massively declined from this weight cut. But that's all good. Bench press doesn't really correlate too much gains for me anyway. It's just the ego thing. Now I'm doing a high incline press with a slow 5-second up and down tempo, concentric, eccentric. These are fucking brutal. I really like these too because that 5-second slow concentric really allows you to get that negative damage. And there's many studies that will show that a very big portion of hypertrophy comes from the muscular damage you sustain during the negative. So these are perfect for really getting the best of both worlds. And you get a lot of time and attention from these. Like, I only did 7 reps here, but because I'm taking a 5-second tempo, that's like almost 70 seconds or something. Whereas if I did straight tempo, like second up, second down, that would be about what 20 seconds, 25 seconds. So slowing it down, that way I can get the same amount of time and attention I would get in a set of, say, four set of 10 reps, but I get to take it to failure and I get to do it in one set. So if you want to save time, cut the volume back, slow the time and attention down a little bit, get the same amount of volume whilst going to failure. And then I do a rest pause, so I just chill for about 20 seconds, and then I do touch and go normal tempo for a drop set. And I like the high incline dumbbell press. A lot of people use low incline because you can get more weight that way, but realistically you're basically just doing a flat bench at that point, because one, you arch, and then two, you're only doing like a 35-degree angle, and at that point you're basically doing flat bench. Now I'm doing pec flies, and I add a red band to this because with the dumbbells you get great stretch at the bottom, but you don't get the greatest contraction at the top. So with these, you get to get both worlds. You get the squeeze at the top because of the band resistance, and at the bottom you get a good stretch. And I keep my elbows pretty bent here. I don't like my arms straight on any fly movement, whether it be pecs or rear delts. So it's kind of in between a press and a fly. And this way, I feel these amazingly. This is probably the best pec movement I do. I feel this one so fucking good. Like, for someone that has such a shit mind muscle connection to my chest, and it shows in my physique. My chest just is very stubborn, doesn't like to grow. This is probably what most people feel like when they do most chest exercises with normal mind muscle connection. But when I do these, I really feel it. So if you're having a hard time feeling your chest, give these a go. Put a band over your dumbbell flies, and that way you'll get the contraction at the top with the stretch at the bottom. And then I do a rest pause into an easier variation. So it's a drop set of sorts where I just drop into an easier variation into press. So obviously I could dumbbell press far more than this, but because now I've done the pec fly and pre-exhausted the pecs, the dumbbell press is now super hard at that light weight. And now I move on to triceps. I do the old trusty V-bar extension. So with these, a lot of people, they don't do the full range of motion. I saw a guy, what's that bodybuilder, Chris Bumstead. He does these really long range of motions, and this is how I've always done them. I've always had this full range of motion, and you get way less weight. You can't tricep extend as much weight when you do it this way, because obviously the leverages aren't as good, but I feel like I contract my triceps better when I bring it all the way up to like my nipple line, whereas some people go to like, 45-degree angle and then they press down from there, and you could probably get away with 10-15 kilos more weight that way. And I've tried that before, and I was tricep extension like 50 kilos, whereas with this I'm only doing 35. So it's not great for the ego, but you get a better stretch and you get a better contraction. At least to me, I feel these a lot better. So I do a straight set to failure, and then I do a drop set. I do 3 drop sets here, nothing fancy, just same variation, 3 drop sets. Haven't got much to say here for these. These are just very standard old school triceps. And so far, I think my chest day has the most variation of movements in it, just because I'm kind of really trying to figure out what hits my pecs the best. But also, I have a lot of different goals for chest. I don't just want to get them big, I also want to get a better bench press again, after neglecting that for a while. So I have a lot of variation on my chest day. I want to get good at dips also. I want to get good at incline dumbbell press, which is actually a lot better for me for hypertrophy anyway. And then I go into some unilateral tricep extensions because I have a huge imbalance in my left and right tricep. My left tricep is quite a lot bigger than my right. You might not see it here because I think the lighting on this side is better than the left side, but I most definitely have a larger left tricep. And on the contrary, my right bicep's a lot bigger than my left bicep. So I have this weird kind of inverted arm, and if I was lucky enough to have my right bicep with my left tricep combined, I'd have a pretty big arm. But in this case, you don't get both on each arm. You get like one good thing on one arm and one good thing on the other arm. So I'm doing unilateral movements to try and you can see it really. Actually, no, this is the reverse. This makes it look. This makes me look like I'm gaslighting. But the lighting is good here. But this is my left tricep, and it actually looks smaller here because of the lighting and whatever. But I guarantee you, my left tricep looks bigger, and it also has a better insertion. It looks like a different person's tricep to my right tricep, and you might see it in a second when I do some posing. But yeah, I like these unilateral tricep extensions because you can do force reps. You can push yourself beyond failure rather than having to rely on drop sets. So they're pretty cool, and I'm mainly just doing them for imbalance sake. But yeah, so that's my left tricep. I think the camera might be inverted, or maybe this is, I don't know. Either one, whichever tricep looks bigger is the tricep that I'm more dominant on. Or maybe it's in my head. I don't know. Maybe I've actually, I might have actually fixed it by now. Because there was definitely a point where my left tricep was vastly smaller. But now I'm looking at my videos, I can't actually really tell. So maybe the unilateral tricep extensions has sort of cured me of this imbalance. So cool. That's enlightening. See you guys tomorrow for more piss and vinegar. Bye-bye.